Finally return to the ice tonight. We have a full preview of tonight's game against Buffalo, plus the latest news on the health of all the Islanders players. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. So glad you could join us here today as we talk Islanders hockey, and thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We've got a lot to discuss on today's show. We'll have the latest on the Islanders line combinations, health situation, and who's on the COVID list, who's on the taxi squad. We'll try to get to all of that on today's show. We also have a full preview of tonight's game against the Buffalo Sabres at the UBS Arena. Fingers crossed that this one remains on. We'll talk a little bit about the World Junior Championships. They have been postponed. And we have our Islanders birthday of the day and a lot more, all coming up on today's episode. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on the show, feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. And I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So check that out for instant analysis and insight. And it's always great to interact with fans at any time, but especially during Islanders games. So a couple of quick notes. Tonight's game against the Buffalo Sabres does appear to be a go. Some sources telling me that the reason for yesterday's cancellation against Detroit had more to do with the Red Wings situation than it did with the Islanders situation. And that is almost hard to believe because the Islanders had, at least as of yesterday, 7 players on the COVID reserve list. But bottom line, the Islanders game against Buffalo, as of my time recording this, which is Wednesday evening, as of right now, it looks like all systems are go. The Islanders do have a morning skate and a press conferences scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday morning, by the time you listen to this today. So at least as of Wednesday evening, it looks like all systems are go for Thursday's game against Buffalo. Can't say the same, however, about the World Junior Championships. Let's touch briefly on that before we get to the Islanders and their health situation. The too many games had already been forfeited. Team USA had to forfeit a game. It got to the point where it just wasn't going to be a fair and competitive tournament anymore. So they postponed it. Couldn't do it safely is the bottom line. And let's hope that that is not an indicator of things to come for the National Hockey League. But I think they made the right choice to shut down the World Junior Championships under the circumstances. And now, obviously, we will see that. We know this tournament has got to put a team together for tonight's game. And that's not going to necessarily be easy. Let's start with the taxi squad, because they have 5 players on the taxi squad as of right now. And I think most of them make sense. You have mostly veteran veteran types on the Exy squad and a couple of younger players. You have Simon Holmstrom, Cole Bardreau, Grant Putton. On zone, and you know Holmstrom and Hutton are the two youngsters, and then you have Zarnik, Dal Cole are older. They will give best to spin, give you a few games. Now, should be getting right, and that is good. Again, you still in the Palmieri, Ryan Pulak still in. So right, you got Beauvillier, Clutterbuck, Parise, and Walsh and Brock Nelson all on over. Matt Barzal should be available for the New York Islanders. And here's the thing. They don't have four regulars. I guess will fill in at center for Brock Nelson. He'll probably step to the second line as well. Martin back. Not sure if Clutterbuck will be available right away. Dal Cole could be in lineup with Pat and Bellows. And then I guess Youngston, Austin, do you have enough players who could put puck in the net? And how perfect will this team need to be defensively against Buffalo in order to win 2-1 or 3-2 under the circumstances? So not going to be necessarily easy, but the Islanders will team, and I'll say this from my perspective. It is wonderful to even just think about the Islander game, that the Islanders are finally going to get back on the ice and play a little hockey with COVID and the Omicron variant being so widespread right now and so contagious. It is, you take it one day at a time. And if this game gets played, I don't know if that means Saturday's game against Edmonton will necessarily be played. We'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but you got to take it one game. I don't know what's going to be. When we get back, we have a preview of tonight's scheduled game against the Buffalo Sabres. We'll down the Sabres and talk about the Islanders need to do to beat them. We've got our Islanders' birthday of the day and a whole lot all coming up on the episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by friends at Primal Origin Oils. Got beard, get Primal. You heard me right. Got beard, get Primal. If you or someone you care about has a beard, it needs to get Primal. Maybe you're that guy who has never considered the benefits of treating your beard with product, but Primal Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with low impact on our planet. Primal Origin Oils, bombs, oils, and whipped butter that are renowned as the best feel and beard products available. All products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the USA. The combo kits make a great holiday gift, and if you're shopping for yourself, you'll be glad that you did. We know that every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and the feel in beard to the other products you've used. We promise you will see and feel the difference. Remember, the code LOCKEDON gets you 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Use the code LOCKEDON, one word, at checkout for 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. Want to thank you once again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Let's break down the Buffalo Sabres, who, by the way, after their recent are currently playing the 0-0 midway through when I'm recording this. So Buffalo, after a break for the holidays and COVID and everything else, they're going to be playing a back-to-back game tomorrow, while the Islanders will be very well rested with having plus off as a result of the holiday break and games postponed by COVID. Buffalo, a team that is playing their 10, 15, and 5, 25 points in 30 games. But you look at the numbers, goals scored, 24th in the league. Goals against, 28th in the league. Neither of those categories looking all that promising. The power play is 18th. The penalty kill 16th. So right around the middle there. And I'll say this. One player who is playing well, trivia question, who is the leading point getter right now on the Buffalo Sabres? Answer, a very familiar name to Islander fans. I'm talking about Kyle Okposo, the former first-round pick of the Islanders, who played so well for the team for so many years. Injuries slowed Kyle down for a few seasons, but now he is back and leads the team with 20 points in 30 games, 6 goals, and 14 assists. Jeff Skinner has 9 goals. Dylan Cousins, 8. Tage Thompson has 10 to lead the team. Kyle Okposo leads with 14 assists, followed by Rasmus Dahlin and Victor Olofsson. They each have 12. Rasmus Asplund has 10 assists. So, again, those are the leaders right now for Buffalo Sabres. But like every other team in the league, figure out necessarily who's going to be available. Here are the line combinations as of last night's game against the Devils. The top line for Buffalo, Tage Thompson with John Jason Paterka and Alan Tuck. That's the top line. On the second unit for Buffalo, R2 Ruotsalainen is the center, Rasmus Asplund and Victor Olofsson on either side of him. Peyton Krebs centers the third line with Brett Murray and Kyle Okposo on his wings. And the fourth line, Cody Eakin, Anders Bjork, and John Hayden. On defense, Rasmus Dahlin, Mark Dyke is Fitzgerald on the second unit. Third defense pair is Ethan Prow and Will Butcher. As far as the goaltenders are concerned, there are injuries and there are COVID issues. Ukko-Pekka which means that Malcolm Subban, the backup, is likely to get the nod against the injuries concern. Goalie Peterson on the IR. Kittelstadt on the IR. Robert Hagg listed as out, but not on the IR. And then on the COVID list, Jeff Skinner, Dylan Cousins, Zegmis Girgensons, Vinny Hinostroza, and Mark Jankowski. They are all on the COVID list in the COVID protocols. And whether or not they will be able to come back in time for tonight's game remains to be seen. Here is an opportunity for the New York Islanders, and they were originally supposed to play in Buffalo on Monday. That game was canceled. But you had Buffalo, Detroit, Buffalo originally on the schedule. Now you just have Buffalo, the one game But you have to take the Sabres have been struggling. They got off to a pretty good start this year, but they cooled off recent hockey as of late. Again, sort of difficult with all of these interruptions to the season to figure out, with the continuity, what's going on in NHL teams. But, the losses have piled up. The Buffalo Sabres, that's always an issue for them. You've had games before that. Their last game against Jersey, a 3-2 loss in Pittsburgh. Won their previous two games in Minnesota and in Winnipeg before that. But, you had a losing streak 5 games before that, where, starting in the month of December, they lost their first 5 games, 2 on the road in Florida and in Carolina. And then lost at home against Atlanta, and a little bit of an issue recent weeks. So here's the situation. The Islanders, as we know, with their lineup constituted the way it is, they're going to struggle to score as well. And the play of guys like a Josh Bailey and a Matthew, a Kiefer Bellows, these are Anders Lee. These are guys that are going to have to step up and put pucks in and on net in order to get this offense going. Noah Dobson hopefully can contribute, and the Islanders can move forward and get enough offense to win this hockey game. I'll tell you, I don't think this will necessarily be a pretty game. Both teams dealing with a lot of players unavailable because of COVID, line combinations compromised, and rosters are about 25 to 33% filled with AHL level players or taxi squad players. But you know what? It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Michael Dal-Cole to step in and say, you know what? I belong in the NHL, and this is what I can do. Cole Bardreau, who we know, had that one goal, which was his first NHL goal, a game winner on a penalty shot a couple of years back against Ottawa. It's a chance for him to show the coaching staff, hey, I can contribute when you need me to, and anytime something like this happens again, I'm here and I'm ready. There are players, even Kiefer Bellows, who is trying to establish himself as an everyday part of this lineup. These are chances for players like this to step up and get the job done and show that they have what it takes. So, look, all of sports, college football, the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL, and we saw what happened with the World Juniors, all of these sports are dealing with COVID and the fallout of it, and hockey is not immune. The Islanders have to find a way to use that next man up mentality and get the job done against the Buffalo Sabres. When we come back, we have our Islanders' birthday of the day and some more thoughts about tonight's game against Buffalo. All that and more still to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this holiday season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through the college bowl season and the pro football playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON, that's one word, Locked On, to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, so don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available. BetOnline, where the game starts. Time now for our birthday of the day, and yeah, there's a slightly fewer one, but I like mixing in the obscure players with the well-known players. 50th birthday to former Islanders center Chris Marinucci. Marinucci, drafted by the Islanders in the 5th round back in 1990, spent 4 seasons at the University of Minnesota Duluth and made his Islanders debut during the lockout-shortened 1994-95 season. Played 12 games with the Islanders, 1 goal, 5 points, had 2 penalties. Then went back to the Islanders affiliate, the Denver and Utah Grizzlies, the next 2 years before moving on to play 1 game for the LA Kings. That was the last game of his NHL career. Later on, played in the AHL in Germany and Sweden and finished his career in ECHL. So 13 games in his NHL career. We're going to go back and look at what was most memorable for Chris Marinucci. Going to take you back to April 24th, 1995. Islanders hosting the Boston Bruins at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Blaine Lachey, the goalie for the Bruins. Tommy Soderstrom in net for the Islanders. And it was Boston getting on the board first. Chris Luongo off for cross-checking for the Islanders. Mats Naslund pots his 7th of the year. John Roloff and Alexei Kasatonov with the assist at 1:45. Boston leading the Islanders early, 1-0. But the Islanders tie it in the closing minute of the opening period. Ziggy Palffy, who else back then? His 8th of the year from Bob Beers at 19-19 after the first period, all even at 1-1. In the second, the Islanders took the lead. Pat Flatley, his 7th from Ray Ferraro and Kirk Muller at 3:02. And then less than 2 minutes later, Ray Ferraro, his 20th from Jan Kaminsky and Dean Chenoweth at 4:45. After 40 minutes, Islanders up 3-1. But the Bruins got back into it early in the third with Matthew Schneider off for hooking Moats. His 11th from Don Sweeney and Ted Donato at 6:06. Cut the Islanders' lead to just 1 goal. That made it a 3-2 hockey game. But Matthew Schneider answers for the Isles, his 6th. Derek King and Ziggy Palffy with the assist at 7:57. And then our Islanders' birthday of the day, Chris Marinucci, his first career NHL goal from Scott LaChance and Pat Flatley at 12:09. Boston added a late goal. Brent Hughes, his 6th. Brett Harkins and Jamie Huscroft at 16:09. The Islanders skate away with a 5-3 win in this game. Tommy Soderstrom, 30 saves to earn the victory. And as for Chris Marinucci, our Islanders' birthday of the day, the 1 goal plus 1, 2 shots on goal in this one. And that was the first and only goal of his brief NHL career. So again, I want to wish a very happy 50th birthday, late birthday, to former Islanders center Chris Marinucci, the native of Grand Rapids, Minnesota, is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I, for one, am just so glad to have Islanders hockey back tonight. I hope, fingers crossed, can't, like I say, it ain't over till it's over, until it's done. But so far, all systems go. And just great to have hockey back. I hope the NHL can do a good job of keeping everybody safe and figuring out a way to finish this season relatively on time. You've got the 3 weeks from the Olympic break. And, unfortunately, COVID is not going to hit all these teams equally. It's going to hit some harder at some times than others. The Islanders, we know, have been particularly hard hit, but this is one of those random things, almost like injuries. It's out of your hands. So no one is going to feel sorry for the Islanders, except maybe fans. And the players have to step up, get the job done, and hopefully that is something that they can and will do. Time to put together some wins in order to get back into the playoff hunt. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets is hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. We'll be back tomorrow with our key takeaways from the game against Buffalo and a preview of Saturday's game against Edmonton, if that game continues to be on the schedule. So fingers crossed on that. We'll also have some thoughts to close out the year, as tomorrow will be our last podcast of 2021. And what a crazy year it's been. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Enjoy the game tonight. Of course, let's go Islanders.